Yeah. Hello, wonderful viewers. How are you all doing today? Welcome to the broadcast of today. Welcome to Ancient Do. Yeah, where we love to do what we know how to do best and tell the story the way it should be told, you know? Okay. The topic of today's broadcast is this one here. The Traore effect. And as long as time tarries, what we do here is to give you updates of what is actually going on as it's trending or perhaps at it's rolling. So we are not here to give the narratives of the type of stories that you want to hear. So bring it the way it should be brought to you. And that is the current happenings going on in Africa, all centered on one man, the man you see at the top right of your screen there. His name is Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. But there is something that this young man has been able to do. He has been able to impregnate the mindset of the people. Now there is a new surge going on in Africa, in the motherland. And the mentality of the leaders is dramatically changing because of the mindset or perhaps the lion heart of Ibrahim Traore, you know. The other time we saw Yoweri Museveni, although very old, walking or moving around in his military regalia. Now, today, we are seeing another African president that did the same. So it's an awakening that is pushing the boundaries, is pushing the edge, is reshaping the dynamics of the thoughts of the Africans, their mindset, because the biggest problem of a black man is always up here, mental-wise, which they critically lack. The black man's mental alacrity is extremely low, you know, but it's not all. There are some that are selected few. And that's why we are here. So if your mental alacrity is low, we'll wake it up for you. But if you refuse waking up, then that means you are destined for doom and destruction, you know? That is why we are Ancient Do. We do what others tremble to do. Oh yes. Without taking much of our time, we are rolling into this particular one quickly. We hope this broadcast of today wouldn't exceed 1 hour. So let's see how it goes, because a lot is going on. And definitely a lot will always keep happening. All right? So let's go there.
What's the image?
Let's go there once again.
And
hold on. This information we got it from the feed of Vantage First Post. So it is to verify the authenticity of this storyline. Though we don't anchor our storyline based on major news outlets, because we know they are all programmed. If Vantage up to this moment has failed to talk about what happened in Côte d'Ivoire up to this moment, all international major international media, they are silent, radio silent about it. Then there is one agenda for them to pick up this story and talk there is a dangerous precedence going on. They are trying to remodel and reshape the mindset of the people before their dangerous strike. And the dangerous strike, we are going to bring it up here so that you all will see. Roll.
For our last story today, it is about a viral video, one that has got a lot of people talking. When you think of a head of state, what's the image that pops into your head? Probably a powerful figure, dressed in a sharp suit and tie. Most of us will think of a traditional look, one that is formal and polished and classic. But in Africa, this dress code for leaders is getting a makeover. Forget the old school suit and tie style. African leaders are going for a combat-ready look, one in military fatigues. And for accessories, how about a gun? Even during public appearances. Now take a look at this viral video. It features Botswana's President Duma Boko. He showed up in a full military outfit, reportedly during public appearances. It is his first time rocking this look since taking office in November last year, and it has definitely turned heads. The internet thinks that Boko's look is in fact inspired by another African leader. Enter Captain Ibrahim Traore, the junta leader of Burkina Faso. Only Traore took power in September of 2022 through a military coup, and since then he has become a charismatic symbol and a modern Pan-Africanist icon. The 37-year-old has emerged as a man on a mission to free his nation from what he calls Western imperialism and neo-colonialism. Traore is almost always in military gear. He is known for his serious face, often appearing in public with a stern expression. One of his most talked about moments is showing up to Ghana's presidential inauguration in January, wearing a holstered pistol on his waist. Yes, a pistol at a high security and high profile event. But Traore didn't just become a symbol of power. As now it appears, it is also a fashion statement and probably a trendsetter. Now netizens are calling it the Traore effect. It's the idea that Africa's strongman style is spreading across the continent. Even in Botswana, a democratic and one of Africa's most stable nations, the military vibe is reportedly making its mark. Traore has become a sensation, not just on African social media, but even Western media has taken notice. They call him a popular figure with a growing cult of personality. They are referring to him as someone who has captured hearts and minds around the world. The biggest trigger behind this craze is his bold anti-West stance. After taking power, Traore cut ties with France. He turned to Russia instead, and this includes allowing Russian paramilitary presence and launching leftist economic policies. He even set up a state-owned mining firm and demanded And for our last story today, it is about a viral video, one that has got a lot of people talking. When you think of a head of state, what's the image that pops into your head? Probably a powerful figure, dressed in a sharp suit and tie. Most of us will think of a traditional look, one that is formal and polished and classic. But in Africa, this dress code for leaders is getting a makeover. Forget the old school suit and tie style. African leaders are going for a combat-ready look, one in military fatigues. And for accessories, how about a gun? Even during public appearances. Now take a look at this viral video. It features Botswana's President Duma Boko. He showed up in a full military outfit, reportedly during public appearances. It is his first time rocking this look since taking office in November last year, and it has definitely turned heads. The internet thinks that Boko's look is in fact inspired by another African leader. Enter Captain Ibrahim Traore, the junta leader of Burkina Faso. Only Traore took power in September of 2022 through a military coup, and since then he has become a charismatic symbol and a modern Pan-Africanist icon. The 37-year-old has emerged as a man on a mission to free his nation from what he calls Western imperialism and neo-colonialism. Traore is almost always in military gear. He is known for his serious face, often appearing in public with a stern expression. One of his most talked about moments is showing up to Ghana's presidential inauguration in January, wearing a holstered pistol on his waist. Yes, a pistol at a high security and high profile event. But Traore didn't just become a symbol of power. As now it appears, it is also a fashion statement and probably a trendsetter. Now netizens are calling it the Traore effect. It's the idea that Africa's strongman style is spreading across the continent. Even in Botswana, a democratic and one of Africa's most stable nations, the military vibe is reportedly making its mark. Traore has become a sensation, not just on African social media, but even Western media has taken notice. They call him a popular figure with a growing cult of personality. They are referring to him as someone who has captured hearts and minds around the world. The biggest trigger behind this craze is his bold anti-West stance. After taking power, Traore cut ties with France. He turned to Russia instead, and this includes allowing Russian paramilitary presence and launching leftist economic policies. He even set up a state-owned mining firm and demanded foreign companies hand over a bigger share. Then there are his speeches, which are often bold, fiery, and viral. At the 2023 Russia-Africa Summit, Traore told African leaders to stop dancing when imperialists pull strings. That line spread like wildfire online and helped to cement his image as the no-nonsense Pan-African voice of a new era. So, as Traore's popularity soars, his influence is growing too. Whether he is really behind Boko's new look or not, one thing is clear, the Traore effect is marching across Africa.
Now let's stop it right there. That is the effect. They tagged the Traore effect. How many African leaders can muster such courage? They can't. Do you know why? Because they are corrupt. It's not that Africans cannot rise up on their feet to do that which is right, but simply because they are corrupt and they are in love with power. We are going to expose something here that happened. This one came from Donald Trump. And you all will hear the response that Traore gave to him. The other time it was Michelle Obama. Later it was the Islamic bandit himself called Barack Obama. You see, if you're not doing that which is of effect, positive effect, no one will give a damn about you. Traore has proven it beyond all reasonable doubt. So, for major global leaders to see Traore as a threat, tell me now, I need you to be the judge of this thing yourself. What is the effect of Frino Omokiri and Deji Adeyonju and those prostitutes called Nigerian youths in the social media space or in the media house? Very useless. They just call them up, go and drag Traore online immediately without thinking. As prostitutes that they are, they rushed into the game let's go and drag Traore and give him a bad reputation online so that the world will see him as someone that is evil. But the good thing there is that Traore never paid any attention to them. Then they called up the Puff Daddy's girlfriend, Burna Boy. The beach, Burna Boy. They called him up. Go to Burkina Faso and make a show. Then we cried out. Traore heard the voice of Ancient Idu and others. He told Burna Boy, don't come here. Don't come here. We don't want to see your transgender ass here. And that was that. Then we had Very Dark Idiot called Very Dark Man, clamoring to go to Burkina Faso to go and celebrate. But you forgot that Burkina Faso raised the flag of Russia to get their freedom. Then when Nigeria raised the flag of Russia to get their freedom from political criminals, Very Dark Man was on the other side calling them evil, calling Tinubu and the Nigerian military to execute the Nigerian youth. The same Very Dark Man now wants to go to Burkina Faso to celebrate Traore. He has seen a leader that Africa needs. I don't blame him. I blame the Nigerians because they are stupid. Flat out stupid. Celebrating Very Dark Man as a hero. What type of hero would you call Very Dark Man? What did he do? Alan Onyema said he's a hero. Nigerians should celebrate him. Alan Onyema, this message is for you. If you get this message, share it. Share this broadcast, let it go far. Because our broadcast is not intended for Nigerians. It is intended for those that wants to wake up. Those that wants to see themselves as human beings and not packages. Nigeria is a package, not even a good package, a rotten package. So this message is not for them, but if you get to share it, and if the Nigerians should hear it peradventure and they want to change, then let them go ahead and change. Because we called out Côte d'Ivoire several, we called them the Lapi of the West, the lapdogs of the West. We called out Togo for accepting $600 to kill, what's his name, Sylvanus Olympios. $600. We call them the names that we ought to call them, the name that is befitting them. They rose up. We called Kenya. It's up to Kenya now to rise up, but it is an Anglophone country. So we don't expect much from the Anglophone countries because they are saboteurs by nature. The Francophones said enough is enough. Kamikaze is the way out. Freedom or death, that is what the Francophones said. And they are doing it. They are proving it. They are proving it. So with this effect growing like wildfire, Donald Trump banned Traore from ever going to the US. The same man that he invited that refused to come. Now you made a public announcement. You ban him. Is it not a shame on a man like Donald Trump? I don't blame him. That is why Trudeau of Canada, their former prime minister, said you are dumb. And truly, being dumb is being foolish. How can you ban a man that said he will never ever go to your country? You called him, you invited him, he refused to go in. Yet Donald Trump has the guts to insult the entire motherland, calling it a shithole, that Africans are useless, they are less than human beings. Donald Trump said that. He said that. By calling Africa a shithole. Why does Trump and his men want to die in Africa? I don't know. I don't know. So now, the battle is raging. It's raging. Trump gave Traore 24 hours to hand over 90% of the oil, the crude oil that was discovered in Burkina Faso, and also to hand over the whole gold in Burkina Faso, hand it over to America. The whole gold of Burkina Faso. That in exchange, he will give them military support, that they helped Burkina Faso to fight insurgency. So it's time for Burkina Faso to pay back. That is a blackmail. That is the mindset of thieves, criminals. And you will hear it from Traore. Traore called him a thief. Point blank, you are a thief. You want to give me security, so I must hand over my sovereignty and everything about me. The country that a family of 6 lives for less than $10 a month. From 1950s to today, less than $10 a month. People that are being slaughtered every day, they decided to take their destiny into their hand. Now Donald Trump has come. Oh, you defied France, you defied this one. Okay, no problem. The almighty demonic America is here. Will destroy you. Trump forgot one thing. He has the bombs to drop, no doubt. Those of the motherland are afraid of it? No. The people in the motherland, they have seen death 99 times. So, Trump, drop your bomb. We don't care. Huh? You can break the land, but you cannot break the spirit. This is the African spirit, the motherland spirit rising. 3 countries coming together to form a conglomerate. Yeah, not a conglomerate. What's it called? A confederacy together. Is the ratio of the Berlin Conference, what's it called, line that they used to partition Africa. The whole lines that you Westerners used to partition the land, change the name of the land, will be removed. And the name of the land will also return back to the original. Africa will be erased and the original name will come back. Okay? So Trump, we are not begging you not to get furious. We are asking you to get furious and do your worst. Do your worst. You will hear from what Trump said. But he forgot one thing. There is a lesson that history has taught all man. And it will also teach again when you forget that history. Trump and your administration, go back and look carefully to what led to the First World War, even the American Revolution, even the Boxer Rebellion in China, even the French Revolution, the Russo Revolution, even the British Revolution. They have forgotten what led to that. Huh? Oppression beyond bounds. Oppression without limits. That is what brought about revolution and a change. That is what made a couple of world powers to fall before America rose as a world power. So if you are crazy and you feel that you are possessed by demons, come to Africa. Drop your bombs, let us see. The gold belongs to the motherland. It never belongs to America. I thought you said in your inauguration speech that underneath the ground of America has the highest oil reserve in the world, that you don't need any part of the world. Why do you want to die now in Burkina Faso, threatening them to hand over the 90% of their oil, crude oil? That is the mindset of a thief, a terrible thief, a rogue that has no shame. Now the White House came and denied it. Oh, it was just Trump talking as usual. That is how they told us about Immaculate Conception. It came up as a whisper, as a rumor. Then suddenly it became real. It became a tradition today in the so-called church system. Before it became a tradition, they had to kill a lot of people. They killed a lot of people. But when it came up, they said, oh, it was just a whisper. Oh, maybe one of the Pope just said it. He never meant it. But they sowed the seed. That is how Trump has done this one now. The American system is now, oh, it's just the usual Donald Trump. But he has set the mindset of the people that wants to destroy. Africa is a fertile ground. They can move in, drop their bombs, fight the war. They have been looking for a venue that will host the next world war. They have seen it now in Africa. That is why they have the courage. African presidents are useless. They can never, ever be redeemed. Why are they hosting the Americans? Why are they hosting the American military intelligence? Oh, you want to monitor Burkina Faso? We need to remove Traore. Traore is dangerous. Trump and your administration, go ahead and do that. We, the African youth, the youth of the motherland, we don't believe in our leaders or our fathers. We don't believe in them. We'll take everything in our own hand. Do it. And all American embassies in Africa will shut down. You know, you recently banned 22 African countries from having it easy, going to America. You banned 22. Everything about Africa, you just keep throwing it away. Oh, they are useless. We don't need them. But meanwhile, you are there trying. If Africa, as you people said, only has 30% of the world resources, then why do you want to die here? Why? It clearly shows that Africa has 70 or 80% of global resources. If it's 30%, they wouldn't want to die inside Africa. For what? Africa is a fertile ground to be robbed any day, any time. And they are not ashamed of it. They come to rob openly. America, we can never ever forget and forgive your sins that you committed against humanity. How you executed scores, countless of black men and women. Your William Lynch program, the making of a black female, the breaking of a black female. How did you do it? How you tortured our women, tortured them to the point of no return, that made them what they are today in America. Tortured them for 400 years. Women. How about the HIV/AIDS? Who did you test it on? That is America for you. That's why they went to Tanzania to tell the new president that we will use Tanzanians to test with their new vaccines. How can you go to a country and tell the president, submit your citizens so that we can test new vaccines on them? That's America for you. Mindless, demonic set of people. Mindless. Look at what you've done to the black Americans. Many of them are tracing their steps back home now to the motherland. Then France went ahead and tested their nuclear bomb. They took Africans and put in the impact zone to watch how they will react to the effect of a nuclear bomb. Now you are fighting. You are giving a straight command. You need the gold and the crude oil. You will take everything. That is the mindset of a thief. A thief will keep robbing. No matter how rich that thief is, they will keep robbing. Poverty is not the absence of cash in the pocket or in the bank account, but it is a mental thing. Poverty is a mental issue, and it's a very serious one at that matter. How can you say such? Now, you are going to watch the video and listen to the narratives. You know, major news outlets, they will never talk about it.
And for our last story today, it is about a viral video, one that has got a lot of people talking. When you think of a head of state, what's the image that pops into your head? Probably a power.
We are going to put it up here. Let's see. We need to get this woman out of the way. Oh yeah. We need to get her out of the way. Go. Now, this is the video of the day that we want to talk about. This very one. So just wind down on this particular program here. After you finish listening to this video, then we'll come back. We are going to come back again soonest to run other programs quickly. Today's program, we don't intend it to get up to 1 hour. So let's run this one quickly for us to watch and listen to what Donald Trump had to say about Africa.
And Russia had entered the room, but
now let's start.
It started with a leak, a single line buried inside a classified cable, but powerful enough to shake a nation. Traore has 24 hours, deliver 90% of the oil and gold, or face consequences. The signature at the bottom, Donald J. Trump, the former US president, now leading an aggressive global business offensive through private diplomatic channels, had made a demand that stunned even Washington insiders. He wanted near-total control of Burkina Faso's newly discovered oil and strategic gold reserves. No negotiation, no diplomacy, just an ultimatum. It wasn't just a message, it was a threat, and it was delivered straight to the heart of Ouagadougou. According to insiders, the cable came through a trusted intermediary, a former US military attaché, escorted by private American security contractors. It landed on Traore's desk at dawn. The wording was clear: allow US corporations to immediately begin oil extraction and gold export operations. Sign over long-term control of Burkinabe energy policy to an American-led economic board. Do it within 24 hours, or risk sanctions, resource blockades, and internal sabotage. Trump's message wasn't veiled in diplomacy. It was raw, ruthless, transactional. We saved you from terrorism, now pay us back. But what Trump didn't count on was the man sitting on the other side of that letter. Captain Ibrahim Traore didn't blink. He called in his intelligence chief. He called in his army commander, and then he looked them both in the eye and said, "Tell the Americans, Burkina Faso is not for sale." By midday, the leak had gone viral. African networks broke the story. Screens lit up from Lagos to Kinshasa. Trump demands African resources. Traore given 24-hour deadline. The world watched. Burkina Faso held its breath, and Captain Traore began to write his response, not with ink but with steel. For months, it was one of the best-kept secrets in Africa, buried deep beneath the arid plains of northern Burkina Faso, something that could change everything. Oil, not rumors, not speculation, but confirmed, massive, untouched reserves. The discovery was made by a classified geological team operating under a joint military energy division set up quietly by Captain Traore after seizing power. Russian engineers had helped conduct deep-ground scans. Iranian survey drones had flown under radar coverage. North Korean tech teams had encrypted the data. Everything was sealed. Everything was locked down until it wasn't. Because the moment the first underground drill broke surface, satellites saw it. American satellites, French satellites, eyes in the sky that never sleep. Within 48 hours, US intelligence agencies flagged anomalous energy activity in the Sahel. They traced shipments of industrial equipment arriving from Iran and Venezuela. They intercepted encrypted messages referencing a new sovereign petroleum corridor. And then the gold trails lit up too. Burkina Faso had already begun quietly reclaiming its gold mines, pushing out French-controlled corporations and replacing them with state-led military protection. The revenue was no longer heading to Paris. It was going straight to a Burkinabe development fund. The US knew what this meant. A country with oil and gold, not owned by Wall Street, not controlled by Paris, not begging the IMF, but defended by rifles and flags. That wasn't just a threat, it was an example, and that's what scared them. They didn't just want the resources, they wanted to stop the model from spreading before Mali, Niger, Chad or Congo followed suit. That's when the calls started. From Exxon, from Chevron, from Washington, all asking the same question. How do we shut this down before it becomes another Libya? But this time, African-owned. The answer came quickly. Send Trump, send the threat, and force Traore to bow. But the man they were pressuring doesn't kneel. When the message arrived in Ouagadougou, it wasn't dressed in diplomacy. It came wrapped in arrogance. The language of empire disguised as business. Trump's team delivered it like a business deal. But make no mistake, this wasn't negotiation. It was extortion. The demands were outlined in a 7-page document marked Confidential Strategic Resource Acquisition Framework. But the content was anything but subtle. 90% of Burkina Faso's oil production was to be granted to US oil giants for stabilization and infrastructure purposes. Control of all major gold export routes was to be handed over to US-approved intermediaries. An American advisory committee would oversee all new mining contracts and revenue distribution. And in exchange, promises of military security cooperation, technology partnerships, and protection from regime change. Yes, you read that right. Protection from regime change. A veiled threat buried beneath polite wording. The message, obey us or fall. And at the top of the document, in thick red ink, one handwritten note, Traore has 24 hours. DJT. It wasn't just economic colonialism, it was imperialism 2.0. Bold, naked, and direct. Washington elites tried to distance themselves. They claimed Trump was acting privately, outside official government policy. But behind the scenes, the White House wasn't stopping him, because Trump was doing what they all wanted, just louder. He was saying what the West had always whispered. We don't care who runs Africa, as long as we own what's under it. But Traore had already read the message, and he had already decided, no foreign hand will decide the fate of our soil. Because if this was a game of power, he was ready to play, but not as a pawn, as a sovereign man with a sovereign nation. And Trump? He had just threatened the wrong soldier. The message from Trump landed with a thud in the presidential war room, but Traore didn't even flinch. He read it once, then again, then he pushed it aside and stood up, calm, steady, cold as steel. "So, that's their price for peace?" he said. "Slavery in a suit and tie?" His generals waited. His ministers stayed silent. And then Captain Ibrahim Traore made his decision, not with hesitation, but with fire. "They want 90% of our future. They'll get 100% of our resistance." He didn't call Paris. He didn't call Washington. He called the commander of Burkina Faso's Special Sovereignty Force, a unit created in secret just for this moment. Orders were issued: lock down every oil field, double the guards on every gold convoy, shut down all data transfers to foreign contractors, prepare the national media. A statement was coming. By midday, the entire country was watching. The screen faded to black. Then, the camera flickered on. No fancy background, no polished speech, just Traore in his uniform, one hand resting on a Burkinabe flag, the other on a folder marked "Confidential US Threat." His voice was calm, his eyes ruthless. "To the people of Burkina Faso and to the nations of Africa, an offer has been made to sell our oil, to sell our gold, to sell our honor in exchange for fear." He paused. "To those behind this insult, to Mr. Trump and his backers, you have misjudged us. We are not Libya. We are not Iraq. We are not your playground." The room was silent. "We will never trade our land for your luxury. We will never bow to your bullets or your banks. You gave us 24 hours. Here is our response. You have 24 hours to take your greed, your threats, and your arrogance, and leave African soil." He stood, saluted, and walked away. No questions, no negotiations, just a line in the sand, drawn with courage and conviction. And from that moment forward, Africa knew it had a warrior who would not kneel. While Traore's words echoed across Africa, another storm was brewing, one the world couldn't see. Behind the scenes, in glass towers and shadowy boardrooms, panic set in. At ExxonMobil, calls were made to Washington. At Halliburton, strategy teams scrambled, and inside Langley, Virginia, headquarters of the CIA, red alarms were flashing. Traore didn't fold. He went public. "We've got a problem." This wasn't just about Burkina Faso anymore. This was about a dangerous precedent, a sovereign African leader, backed by military power, defying the Western economic system and surviving. And worse, being celebrated for it. So the pressure campaign intensified. CIA operatives increased their presence in West Africa. Surveillance drones flew tighter patterns over Burkina's oil and gold corridors. Fake social media accounts launched whisper campaigns against Traore, calling him unstable, extreme, even mentally unfit. Private contractors from a notorious intelligence firm were reportedly spotted near the Ghana border, their mission, destabilization from within. Meanwhile, major Western media networks, suddenly aligned in message, began a new narrative. Burkina Faso's economic isolation could trigger a humanitarian crisis. Experts warn Traore is leading his country into ruin. But inside Burkina Faso, the opposite was happening. More people lined up to volunteer for oil field security units. University students held teach-ins on sovereignty and resource justice. Women's groups delivered food and supplies to soldiers guarding gold mines. And every time a hit piece aired on CNN or BBC, Burkinabe youth just laughed and reposted it with the caption, "If they hate him this much, he must be doing something right." Traore knew the enemy wasn't just Trump, it was the system. The global network of banks, oil firms, intelligence agencies, and media empires that had looted Africa for a century. And now that machine was turning its full weight against one man. Because he had done the unthinkable, he said no, and meant it. Burkina Faso was under siege, politically, economically, and digitally. But Captain Ibrahim Traore was not alone. Just days after his defiant rejection of Trump's demand, 3 military planes touched down in Ouagadougou. They carried no bombs, no weapons, just brothers. From Mali came Colonel Assimi Goïta, silent but firm. From Niger, General Abdourahmane Chiani, face set with fire. From Guinea, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, walking tall with zero apologies. They entered the presidential chamber together. No ties, no handlers, no foreign flags. And when they emerged, they stood at Traore's side for the world to see. Then came the words that sent tremors across the continent. If you touch Burkina Faso, you touch all of us. It wasn't just rhetoric, it was a doctrine. The Sahel's answer to NATO, the AES shield. Within 24 hours, the three nations activated joint intelligence units. AES drones began patrols across Burkina's borders. Encrypted communications were shared between mining sites and allied command posts. The alliance was no longer theoretical, it was operational. Mali offered combat-tested advisors to defend oil installations. Niger provided desert logistics teams. Guinea pledged airspace clearance for any emergency supply routes. And they didn't stop there. AES media outlets launched a counter-narrative blitz, exposing Western manipulation, highlighting African resistance, and flooding the internet with one message: our resources, our future, our fight. Across the region, people rallied. In Bamako, protests erupted in support of Traore. In Conakry, murals were painted of him standing on oil drums with the Burkinabe flag held high. Even in Chad and the Central African Republic, youth began chanting, AES or death. The West scrambled to respond, but their intelligence agencies had failed to predict one thing. This was not just about Burkina Faso, this was a pan-African firewall. And Traore wasn't retreating. He was marching forward, backed by a brotherhood forged not in treaties, but in war, betrayal, and the shared dream of true African freedom. While Western powers fumed and plotted, two global giants were already moving. Quietly, strategically, and without apology, China and Russia had entered the room, but not through loud threats or colonial arrogance. They came bearing tools, technology, and a message Traore would never forget: you are not alone. Within 72 hours of the Trump ultimatum going public, a discreet Chinese delegation arrived in Ouagadougou. No press, no drama. Just engineers, diplomats, and one bold offer: oil refining infrastructure, designed, delivered, and built in 90 days. Gold valuation systems that eliminate Western banks from the transaction chain. And most importantly, a currency bypass system using China's digital yuan, cutting out the CFA franc and the dollar completely. Burkina Faso wouldn't just keep its oil and gold, it would control every stage of its value chain. And the Russians, they weren't far behind. The next day, a Russian Ilyushin military jet landed at a secure base near Ouagadougou. It offloaded two things: advanced electronic warfare equipment and dozens of unmarked crates labeled specialized defense assets. Translation: Burkina Faso's oil fields were now under the protection of Russian-grade anti-drone systems. Sources revealed that Wagner-affiliated specialists had been redeployed, not as mercenaries, but as strategic instructors, embedding directly into Burkinabe defense units. And the best part? All of it, every deal, every radar system, every handshake, was done without a single IMF loan. No debt, no lectures, just sovereignty for sovereignty. The West was rattled. CNN called it a dangerous axis of support. The State Department accused Traore of selling out to dictatorships. But the African people didn't care, because in Traore they saw a leader who didn't bow. In China and Russia they saw tools to fight back. And in AES they saw a future without chains. The chessboard had shifted. Trump made his move. But now, Traore had two powerful players on his side, and the empire's playbook was falling apart. By now, Traore had done the unthinkable. He had defied a US ultimatum, exposed a global power play, and rallied China, Russia, and half of West Africa behind him. And in America, the media exploded. CNN flashed red banners. Burkina Faso threatens US strategic interests. Traore aligns with Russia and China. Fox News went further. Traore must be stopped. African strongman threatens Western energy security. Every panel was packed. Former CIA agents, oil executives, retired generals, all repeating one word like a drumbeat: dangerous. They painted Traore as a madman, an extremist, a puppet of Putin, a new Gaddafi, but with TikTok. But on social media, they couldn't stop him. The hashtags began trending worldwide. Traore, the lion. Africa, is not for sale. We're all Burkina. African creators flooded Instagram and YouTube with videos praising Traore's courage. Even Black Americans began joining the wave. This man just told Trump over my dead body and lived to say it out loud. This is what real leadership looks like. Pay attention. Meanwhile, in Burkina Faso, the youth made their message clear. They took clips of CNN's fear-mongering and remixed them into protest songs. They wore t-shirts that read, "If CNN hates you, you're doing something right." Traore was no longer just a national leader. He was a symbol, a lightning rod, a meme, a message, a movement. Even Time magazine couldn't ignore it. Their next digital cover. The man America can't bully, inside Traore's African uprising. But with fame came danger. The more visible Traore became, the more threats emerged. Private intelligence firms ramped up digital attacks. Bots flooded social platforms with fake rumors. Whispers of regime change resurfaced in DC backrooms. But it didn't matter, because the people had seen the game, and Traore had broken the script. He wasn't supposed to fight back. He wasn't supposed to survive. And he sure wasn't supposed to go viral. Yet, here he was. A 35-year-old soldier from Ouagadougou, trending harder than any Western president, armed with nothing but truth, grit, and oil. The clock was ticking. Second by second, the world watched. Would Traore back down? Would he call Washington? Would he open the gates to US oil giants and beg for forgiveness? No. Instead, when the 24-hour deadline expired, Traore doubled down. In the early hours of the morning, the National Assembly of Burkina Faso held an emergency vote, one kept completely secret from outside observers. By unanimous decision and under direct orders from the presidency, they passed a landmark resolution. All oil and gold reserves within Burkinabe territory are hereby nationalized and permanently shielded from all foreign corporate ownership. The ink dried, the decree was signed, and within hours, every Western company still operating in the country received a clear notice. Pack your bags, you're done here. Gold mining licenses held by French and Canadian firms were revoked. A US-backed energy survey team was escorted to the border, and all foreign diplomatic envoys were informed. Burkina Faso's resources are not up for discussion. They are the property of its people. Then came the broadcast. Traore appeared on national television, not in military fatigues, but in traditional Burkinabe attire, calm, grounded, unshaken. "We have been exploited for generations," he said, "and now that we discover our wealth, they want it back. But I am not here to serve empires. I am here to serve a people who have suffered too long." He paused, then added, "Burkina Faso is not afraid, and I am not negotiating with thieves." Outside, the streets erupted with celebration. Drums, fireworks, dancers in the capital chanting, "He said no, he said no, he said no." Online, the energy surged again. Young Africans posted videos holding fuel, soil, and coins, whispering, "We protect what is ours." Trump's deadline had passed. The threat had failed. And Traore, he hadn't just survived the storm, he'd rewritten the rules of the game. For 12 hours after Traore's declaration, Washington went silent. No press release, no tweets, just whispers in military briefings and panic in oil boardrooms. Then, at exactly 7:42 a.m. Eastern Time, it came, a single tweet from Donald J. Trump in all caps. "Traore just made the biggest mistake of his life. Africa will pay for this."
Yeah, did you hear what Trump said? You know, he lost tweeting. He made a tweet. Traore has made the biggest mistake of his life. Africa will pay for this. Now, I want to ask all African leaders, from the north of Africa down to the south of Africa, how many of them responded to Donald Trump's message or tweet? They are all spineless cowards. All African leaders, they are all cowards. Traore responded, and Traore called him a thief. Pure, no mix-up. You are a thief. How can you request 90% of the oil of the land And 100% of all goods, you give him 24 hours to submit, or you wipe them out. Terrorists in the White House, terrorists in suits, you wipe him out. If this Traore experience has not become this exposed, Traore would have long been dead. They would have killed him a long time ago. Then the media, as usual, will blackmail him, as they did to Gaddafi. Africa will pay for this, threatening 52 nations in a continent, the entire continent. You have the guts to threaten. Trump, bring your B-2 Spirit bomber. Traore he's not hidden. You can kill him the way you kick, what's his name, Suleiman. Qasim Soleimani. Yeah, you can kill him the way you did that. It's not difficult. You say, oh, you will not give him, you protect him, no regime change, he will be there for life, as Paul Biya has been there, as Museveni has been there, as the idiot in Togo has been there, as the one in Cote d'Ivoire had been there till today. You make sure they remain in office, but give us all your wealth. Now, I have seen a rich man that is interested in taking my rags. He lost my rag more than the suits he's wearing. You know, we Africans, we are all dressed in rags. We don't have clothes. We don't have food. We are hungry. But in my front yard, I have a farm, a 10,000 hectares of farm. And I cannot feed from my farm. I wait for America to fly all the way, hours, thousands of kilometers over to my farm and tell me, hey, take this one and eat. They have seen us as eternal slaves. And the narrative, see, continues. They give us the democracy. They give us the Jesus, the Christianity, the Islam, the Mohammed. Yeah, now I even remembered. Even the more recent one that I saw. Saudi Arabia threatens Burkina Faso to take punitive measures against Burkina Faso for rejecting 300 wells and 200 mosques coming from them. So they need to punish him because they brought the God again. It seems these Africans are waking up. They are peeling off from our God. Let us give them back the God. Traore said, I don't need your God. Vatican sent the Pope before he passed on. He sent a message to Traore. Traore said, I don't need your Christianity. Our life matters first. Traore is living in a mud house. That is, no matter your mansion in Africa, it's a mud house. So why are you interested in the mud house? You have launched a media smear campaign against him. CNN, everyone is writing, oh, dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. But every single day, they behead people in Nigeria. They cut off people's head in Nigeria in the name of religious insurgency. One of the American senators said that ISIS is a subsidiary of the American military intelligence, that they share intelligence with the Americans. That is what a senator said in the Senate House in America. These things are facts. They are facts. And yet we are here. What are we talking about? Look at Trump going all red, threatening Traore, a 30-something years old. We need to show them what it means when you disrespect America. Go and show Iran what it means. You have forgotten that Africa has uranium. You have forgotten. You will drop the bomb. You will do this one, you will do that one, you will wipe off Africa. Go ahead and do it. We are not begging. We are not, and we will never ever beg. Go ahead and wipe out Africa. Because he said, give us resources. We said no. Pay us something that is due for the resources that you are taking. You got offended. You call for sanctions. Your military is roving around Africa. And you are giving security to Africa, but every day they are beheading people. They are killing people every day. Your security has done nothing. I have never seen in the history of time where America defeated insurgency in Africa, in any region of Africa, 100%. They cannot even defeat it 2%. But their militaries are there. Their militaries are there. Their militaries in Nigeria with British military. Yet Nigeria has 9 terrorist sects, 9 terrorist groups. 9. ISIS, Boko Haram, and others. There are 9 different groups in Nigeria. But they have their military intelligence here. What are they doing? What are they doing? Mad people everywhere. Let this thing wrap up and let me log off.
Internet exploded. Journalists scrambled for reaction. Pundits shouted over each other on cable news. Markets in New York wobbled as traders braced for escalation. But in Ouagadougou, Traore was unmoved. When his advisors showed him the tweet, he reportedly laughed and said, "That's the sound of an empire losing control." Yet behind the scenes, the threat was real. Satellite activity over West Africa tripled. The US Navy moved 2 ships closer to the Gulf of Guinea, and AFRICOM quietly issued a bulletin warning of regional volatility. Burkina Faso's military went on full alert. Anti-air systems were activated, gold routes were locked down, and elite special forces units were deployed around oil sites and the capital. AES allies responded instantly. Mali sent armored vehicles across the border. Niger repositioned air defense radar to cover shared skies. Guinea announced a joint rapid response pact, pledging direct retaliation for any act of foreign aggression against Burkina Faso. Then, something unexpected happened. Across Africa, citizens, not governments, took action. In Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Senegal, thousands rallied in front of US embassies. They weren't.
You heard that across Africa, citizens took a step. Nigeria, South Africa, the citizens rose up because we know that our government is useless. Our government, they are puppets. They are puppets. America now moved 2 ships. You are moving ships closer to our waters. We are laughing. Your ships will be there. Your ship will do nothing. And if the threat starts becoming a reality, the ships will sink. Your submarines will sink. This is a motherland you are talking of. We will activate what made us a motherland will be activated. Your submarines will disappear from the water completely. It's not a threat, but go ahead and do that. You are moving submarines, warship, aircraft carriers to African waters because we said we don't want to give you crude oil. You are bringing it, but you have crude oil in America, Donald Trump. Do you not have crude oil? Did you not say it in your inauguration? Was it not why you decided to bullshit Canada and push them away? That America has more oil than Canada. Now, what do you want with the oil of Burkina Faso? You are bringing warships to come and take the oil. Pirates. Official pirates of the world. Gangsters in offices. Gangsters in high places. Criminals everywhere. You are bringing warships quickly. AFRICOM is moving, warning that the place is volatile. How volatile is Burkina Faso when people are there living peacefully? Northern Nigeria that is volatile is not volatile because you are there taking the resources freely. You are warning, sending a warning. We don't care. We don't care. You can't live in a palace and still scramble the mud water with us. We live in the mud water. We live in bushes and we are happy. In the bush, in the mud. So why are you offended? The narrative will change permanently once and for all.
Just protesting, they were daring the empire to try. Signs read, "Touch Traore, and you touch us all. Africa is not your minefield."
Yes, touch Traore, you touch us all. Because that will signal the immediate closure of all foreign diplomatic embassies in Africa. Not just the US, but the entire West. Their embassies will have to close and go. Because Africa remains the only continent on earth that doesn't and that will never ever depend on any other world, any other part of the world or continent or nation outside Africa for anything. Africa has it all. We have the land, we have the food, we have the resources, we have everything, and we can trade amongst ourselves without involving any Western part of the world or any other part of the world, including the Asia. We can trade amongst ourselves for the next centuries, and we'll be okay with that. We'll go back to the days of the empires of Africa, how they thrived and how they survived before these vandals came in and burnt it down. But this time around, it's not going to be like that anymore. Everyone that is grounded in ancient history will rise up, and we will change the dynamics and the mindset of the people. That is why we say, come to Ancient Idu. We have something to offer. We have a dynamic that will reshape your mind and give you, perhaps inject a new ideology inside you, an ideology that will even shake the gates of hell. The Western world is a hellhole. And while Africa is a shithole, the Western world is a hellhole. Africa remains a paradise, untouched.
Keep your democracy, we'll keep our dignity. Back in Washington, Trump was reportedly furious that his threats weren't working, and the final blow.
You heard it. Keep your democracy, we will keep our dignity. Take your democracy to hell. We had something that was working before you brought your evil democracy. Take it back. We don't need it. Time for democracy is over. Time for your religious bullshit is over. We know what you did to the religious books. We know how you spin it around. We know how you changed a noble name and gave it Christianity. We know how you changed the characters to white objects to make yourself reign supreme. We know all these things. Come to Ancient Idu. We'll break things down for the liberation of mankind.
A video posted by Traore, just 43 seconds long, went viral globally. He looked directly into the camera and said, "This is not just about oil. This is not just about gold. This is about the soul of Africa, and I would rather die standing than live kneeling." The video was reposted 12 million times in under 24 hours. Even former African presidents began breaking silence, calling Traore the beginning of a new generation. The world held its breath, but Africa began to breathe.
Yeah, you all heard that. And with this, I believe, emphatically, we have come to the end of today's broadcast. And we'll continue again tomorrow. From where we stopped. And here on Ancient Idu, we'll call out the apostasy for what it actually is. We'll put a nail to the coffin. So to you, African, it's either you stand up and be counted, or you die on your knees as a beggar. For a slave, according to Traore, that does not rebel, doesn't deserve freedom, doesn't deserve to be pitied. And Hillary Clinton said, you cannot put a snake in your backyard and expect it to bite your neighbors only. The same snake will bite you. So America, get ready. The Ouroboros effect is what you are about igniting. You will devour yourself. You have positioned your warship, launch the assault. You got the B-2 Spirit bomber, right? You've got the F-35 fighter jet, launch your attack. You took out Qasem Soleimani, take out Traore. Take him out directly. And let's see how many of you will enter the land to take resources. No single soul of you will enter. Not even one. Not even one. So you can keep your threats to yourself. Before now, you said you have the latest bombs, by far the latest and the most dangerous. So now you have seen a fertile ground to test the bombs. Africa is a nice place. After all, France tested theirs with Africans. So now you want to test yours also. You want to go to a global war. But you forgot one thing. The world war that is coming up is not the type that you guide your region, your terrain. There is already integration and cohesion. The people of the motherland that are residing in your own country, in your own homeland, wouldn't allow you to burn their homeland with your weapons. If you do it, there will be an uprising inside your country. Then you will know the effect of a true world war. Then you will know. You are threatening. Every minute threat. Every minute threat. Where the hell is civility when it comes to Donald Trump? Where the hell is civility? You cannot address people as humans. You always put out a threat immediately. What you're going to do because you're America, by far the greatest, by far the richest. We don't brag about greatness with you. We don't brag about wealth with you. We don't care. We just want to live our life. Get that message to your head, Mr. Trump. Get that message into your head. White supremacists everywhere, racists everywhere. Keep your Christianity, keep your democracy. We don't need it. We just want to live our life. Life is all that we are hoping for. You can take the resources from Africa. We don't care. But let us live a quality life. That's all we want. You can't take the resources and put terrorists there, killing us. Next thing, taking our organs. What else do you want? Don't come to America, fine. Don't come to the West, fine. But let us live in peace in our own homes. You said no. You brought your religion. And your religion is there telling us, oh, your God wants us to come to heaven. But meanwhile, your God, from the other hand, said, take their resources. Thieves. Thieves everywhere. We have come to the end of this broadcast. Share this broadcast. And if you're a Black American, don't get offended with our message. Because we are exposing the truth. We are peeling it out layer after layer. Things that you know in your heart, in your own heart, you know it. But you are scared to say it. Now we are saying it. So don't hate our message. And if you do, it's your business. We don't care. That is why we are Ancient Edu. Huh? That's why we are Ancient Edu. We speak without care. Because this message has gone into the annals of history. And it's a message of truth that will wake up a certain generation at a certain point in time. They will look for Ancient Edu to continue with this type of message when the time comes. So we are putting it out now. Get this message across to the Sahel. Translate it into French. Spread it across there. And let people wake up. It's a wake-up call. We are not looking at the Anglophone Africa. Because they are pawns in the Western chessboard. The puppet master keeps pulling the string and they keep vibrating by jumping. They resonate. Mad people everywhere. Thank you all. See you in the next one. From here, from us in the studio, we say bye-bye.
Kala